there, it's Tom and Tom, podcasting on opposite sides of the pond still. And that's why you have Tom's orange background. We can see the curtains today, Tom. I think you shifted the camera. It's all
Yeah, the
good.
camera was. I
Curtains are
left it up.
fine.
I have floor to ceiling curtains along this wall as I'm looking out the third story at a beautiful blue sky. I am 325 paces away from the latest stabbing here in the UK.
How exciting.
I
How
counted
exciting.
them.
That's right. You don't have to go turn on the TV for news. You just look out the window. It's
Just look out
happening
the
all
window.
around you.
There's a fire. There's siren.
Well,
They
for the last couple times, Tom has had the topic for our podcast. And today he said, I did the last two. You do this one, Tom. I said, you want me to tell you what the topic is? He's like, no.
no.
I'm like, all right. This is how we're going to play it from now on. It's like the other guy never knows what the topic's going to be until we turn on the camera. So the topic today is arguing.
Mm.
And to me, arguing is actually almost seems like a dying art. It's not that people don't argue anymore. They just do it badly. Like they don't understand the parameters of a good argument. They just descend into, petty hostility before you really get a chance to benefit from an argument. And the best teams I've ever been on were some of the most contentious. My favorite team of all time was in a small startup, and I happened to be vice president, but it's a small startup, so the title meant nothing. I was another member of the team. We were building software, and the hierarchy really mattered little, and it was demonstrated daily by the attacks that I would get from other people on the team if they didn't like my ideas. We used to argue. I mean, anybody who walked into the room would think we hated each other. We would just be ripping each other's ideas up endlessly. We built one of the coolest products I've ever been part of. And the thing about it was, this was like you, Tom, before Agile had a name. We were doing what I think maybe was called extreme programming back then. We were using the Microsoft.NET stack, which is, I know, a curse word for some, but the thing allowed us to do continuous deployment. Like we could build things and put them out there in a few hours. And this was back in, the early aughts. And so we had a lot of fun, even though, like I said, if somebody came along and heard us, they would think, oh, these guys really hate each other. No, we used to go out after work and drink beers together and play darts at the local pub. We liked hanging out with each other. We went out to lunch together after one of our arguments. But the point is that the arguments were about ideas.
Yeah.
and not people. We didn't care where a bad idea came from. If you had one, you were going to hear it from everybody.
Well, and likely the emotion that comes out in the argument and that type of, I reflect back in my head, so everyone has their own unique experience. I reflect back to having an argument where I think I threw a chair in the design meeting. Not physically, but metaphorically. And why were we arguing so passionately? It's because we were passionate about what we were doing.
Right.
We wanted to build better software. We wanted a good architecture. We wanted to build a product that rocked.
Right.
That's, that like And so we did, and we developed skills and we learned how to argue and debate, and we got better at arguing
Right.
over time, like way better at arguing, right? When you
Sure.
first learn a new skill, we were learning object oriented analysis and design. You're arguing based upon what you learned in the class, and then you build it, and then you're arguing based upon your experience, and then you teach it.
Right.
Then you're arguing based upon other books you've read and what other experiences. So the basis for your argument, the tools you have a better argument grow.
Right. And there's
But
an
you're still
irony.
arguing.
There's an irony here, and like when we first, when this team I was describing, when we first started, forming this team, we were actually pretty polite to each other. Even when we debated, it was very
Yeah,
polite. But over time, as our trust level went up,
but
we
yeah,
dropped the pretense. Like we didn't need it anymore. We were brutal to each other.
yeah, just like
But we would get to good ideas like incredibly fast because there was no sugarcoating anything. If somebody in the group thought you were full of crap or that your idea sucked, you would get it with both barrels, and you would have to defend yourself. And if your defense was bad, somebody else would jump in and be all over you, and you quickly would learn like, all right, I'm getting beat down here. So I better
so.
like let go of my idea and see what these guys are, what they have. Because if they don't like what I have, they better have something of their own, like, and they
So let's lay
often
it on.
did. They often had,
Let's
and I'll tell you, I was, I was the subject matter expert. That's the role I played on the team.
Yeah.
So my job was to bring ideas. And the other guys on the team were all basically developers. Some of them did good design work, but they were just developers. Back then, they didn't have a separate role for design. The developers did it. And several of them
which
were
I
good at it.
I firmly believe in, by the way.
Yeah. And some of them were good at it, and that was really, but what would happen is I would say it has to do this and it has to do that, and I would have an idea of how I expected it to look, and they would just beat me down, and I would be like, all right, what do you got? And they would go, well, you need to do it like this and like that, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that is better.
So you can, from an intentional culture perspective, you can structure and ceremonialize the opportunity for argument. And I learned this a long time ago from James Goebel when we were creating Menlo. I think even before Menlo, where it was like it's called set-driven development, set-driven design. You're if you're working with a team and you're like, all right, if you're the visionary or providing the vision, here's what I want it to do. Design something. And we'll talk about UI design just to start, but this applies to any design. And then it's like, so they design something, and it's like, great, now do another design that's different. It's like, what? I want to see you do another. You're a great design team. Do another design that's different. And then so they do that, and then it's like, that's great. Now do another design that's different. Now argue amongst yourselves as to what you want out of each of these and what we should maybe do. Like arguing, you can ceremonialize and structure ways to say, no, you will find three different UI approaches. You will find three different software architectures. You'll find three different tool choices. You'll refine them. You'll believe in them. You'll present them because I want to foster the argument.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
And then
And
like
you will
of
build
that
things.
set, come up with then what you're going to do. Argue as a team about all of these great ideas that you put in front of yourselves and
Yeah.
come up with what you want to do.
You will build things that you didn't think were possible
Yeah.
because you keep pushing each other.
Yeah.
Like one of the what we we were building essentially an enterprise resource planning system. Um, it started out as an inventory management system, and we added the financial module, and we were like, okay, this is an ERP now. And and once it got a little bigger, we're like, well, we need to have a security model in this. We need, and we started debating about security, like what kind of security model we would need. And the debate got so heated and intense. What we ended up building is like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Because we made every field, every screen, every function of the system could have a role assigned to it. And the roles were also user defined, and the functions were also user defined. So that the whole security model was essentially a shell that said, you decide the security you want. You want to lock everything, you want to lock every field down independently and decide who can see it or who can edit it or who can delete the data from it or whatever. Do it. Go for it. You're the user. You figure it out. We're not doing it. And that was all because every time somebody placed a limitation on the model, someone else will go, yeah, well, what about if somebody wants to do that? They're like, oh, okay. Well, then we have to go back to the drawing board. And
Yeah.
so we just ended up with this completely open security model that was amazing. I've never
Extremely
seen
well
anything like it.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested in having better arguments and or building a system where we can create and install with you ceremonies for facilitating and running and having better arguments so that you get the sort of outcomes, then reach out to us. That's something we would love to do.
Yeah. Now you've put the reach out to us at beintentional.biz message before the other message that I usually do first. But that's okay too.
Yeah. What's
Because
the other
I'm
message?
flexible.
Maybe your order is incorrect and we should argue about it.
Well, we could. Maybe this video didn't live up to your expectations. And you're arguing with yourself right now about whether to ever watch another one. I hope you lose and you decide
Yeah.
that you do want to watch some of these videos in the future, and you click the subscribe button down there so that we can like build our viewership and spread the word about intentional culture and arguing
Yeah.
and having
Argue.
fun at work. That's what we're really about here, isn't it, Tom?
Yes.
We're here to help you have fun at work. And if you're not having fun, put us in touch with your leaders, and we'll see if we can fix them for you. So until next time, this is Tom.
And Tom.
Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.